All right. This is the SPX. It tracks the Nasdaq. It tracks the S&P 500. Right. We'll be going to a Nasdaq futures because there's something that I wanted to look at. Trying to get these indicators set up. Did a little bit of work on it, just like in the last video that I had with the short interest on Clover Health. I added the short interest on the subgraph over here for all three of them, for the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq. And you can see here, the 5-day, right? How it spiked up over here when the pandemic dropped, right? And then over here with this bottoming phase that we were going through, right here, spiked up, right? And then over here also, right there, shot up quick, right? So there. And on the daily, you can see it too. It's kind of cluttered up, but it makes it more visible when it's cluttered up like that. That's the heavy spot right there. Like these two kind of diverged from one another, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing is tracking the overall direction of the short interest. Could draw a peak on it if I wanted to, but I don't think that's too relevant. Right. Shut that camera off, see what's going on over here. All right. So I believe this is the Dow. Yeah, it's the Dow. The blue one is going to be Nasdaq, and the red one is going to be the S&P. So what it looks like, see how this rising trend right here, the short interest, and then it fell off a cliff right there, right? The most important thing is just kind of get them all to line up here. We'll shut that back off. Now, I calibrated. We're going to stay that way. So, you can see the trend. If short interest continues to build, I need to move this up here or something because it's always like the bottom indicator. We'll just play this. So it says, the algo's future prediction says that the indicator wants to roll over, but the moving average, they all are just continuing to have this upward slope to them. So as long as they're in an upward slope, that's bullish. When they go into a downward slope, that's when you become bearish. See, like right here. But see, there's a lot more shorting going on in the Dow than, compared to the Nasdaq and the S&P. Pretty much, there was some shorting going on right here with the. I guess that's the It's going to be the Nasdaq right here. Blue one. But the S&P did have a little bit more on the weekly. Looks like it. Where is it at? Well, I guess that spike right there is what makes it what matters, because the Nasdaq stayed flat. But this right here looks like a distributions area. It looks like a topping phase to me. There's no signs of that. There's a bottoming phase coming in according to the algos right here. They're saying it wants to bounce and then turn around. Yet they are in a slight downward slope. These two, they're all in a downward slope on the sub indicators. They got that downward slope to them. This one right here is the quickest one. The red one's second, the blue one's third. But I need to change. No, I think that's good. What I'm looking for is, because we go back in the past, right? And you see this indicator right here. They got this oscillator, and you got the single line indicator. Normally, when they cross, put this little flag right here. When they cross, that is an indication of, yep, we're going to start seeing lower prices. And normally, when they do that, this oscillator gets into the overbought zone first, and then it crosses over. Recently, that's how it's been working here. And if we go over here where we're currently at, you can see, well, the oscillator is above this 50, right? And it's going into this overbought zone. But what we don't have is this single indicator getting out of the overbought zone into the actual area. Get out of the overbought zone, get into this this area right here, then break the center, break the 50%, and start working its way down, right? So that's what I'm looking for. We do got some fibs on the daily and the weekly, or the 5-day. I would say they're about the same. Let's see here. Yeah, they're the same print, just on a different time scale. So right over here, you can see them. You got the SPX 5,900 and some change, 6,130, some change, 6,260 or 70 round up. That's the upward projections, and you got the down ones over here at 5,200, some change, 5,000 and some change, and 4,900 and some change, which are these ones right here on the 5-day. This one, and this one. So at the moment, everything is bullish. We're going to be looking for these higher prices right here. But it's expecting to fail after it reaches it. The only way to know for sure is to see, a break of the trend. Starting off with the daily. And all the predicting indicators to roll over. and short interest to build up. And this indicator right here is very important. So if we look at the past, right? Once it crosses, stays in this elevated zone, and the oscillator crosses in the elevated zone. Simultaneously, this indicator, single line indicator, crosses out of the overbought zone. It's pretty much a buy zone. I kind of got it highlighted here with this indicator, right? So if you want to be more aggressive, and I see this go off, this indicator go off, and I'm expecting it, that would be a buy zone right there, or maybe the next candle afterwards. You're seeing short interest decline. It's positive. Seeing it go from a negative to a positive. But still, if you're trying to, work with these indicators, you want it to be in the negative. You don't want it to go into the positive. You currently want to buy in the negative. So it's a risky scenario, right? I guess you gotta have experience and confidence. And like over here, this would be like the selling version, but without any. Let's see here. Yeah, because that's going to be the bottom. And where is the
brand products have a great taste.
See, I'm missing an indicator. That's the problem. It's this one here. I have to fix that later. I've just been working on the ones that I currently have on the or on the template. But you would be able to see. We could change it. Let's see.
Score Kroger brand products.
Where's
SPX? You can
SPX?
cheer for and great taste you can't resist. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again?
Okay, so
Switch to
like
Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile.
what we were looking for right here
you get unlimited talk
was the whale pump, right? After it went down, we were looking for that whale pump to push it up.
Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile.
And then as it rolls over and prints this red, so that would be topping zones, right? And then vice versa, right? Because then that would be a bottoming zone right there, right? So the dumps, and that. And then this one didn't have a whale pump. So that's sketchy. That's like, where's the money flow coming from? It looks like to me it's artificially created. You got the 3-day. They're saying there was nothing. The day saying there was nothing. I don't know. It just looks sketchy as hell. When you see these moves, these upward moves like that, they want to either come off a whale dump like this one right here, right? Or they want to be brought in to a whale pump like this one right here. And if you don't have either, and it's just moving like it's rolling on its own autonomously, without any action happening, then it's like hollow. It's empty. It's an empty move, right? So that's to me that's sketchy. But I've seen them work out before, so I don't know. We'll see what happens later. So I want to point that out. There's no substance behind the move, right? Because if you get the dump, then you would get the shorts covering positions, and then that would be that, right? Covering turning green. Or if you get the these purple bars right here, this is the pump, right, with the oscillator going up, and you would get the move up, right? And then you would see green like this here too. It's a little bit, but I don't see any power behind this move. It looks hollow. It looks like an empty move. I don't know. That's just me though. So yeah, those are the Fibonacci levels that I'm looking for. Here is the highest. Here is the lowest. That will basically hit the top of the trend right here. If it was to move directly into that position, if we were to just get a trend line, right? And then say, hey, that's the direction you're going. Give it a little bit of room to run. Hell, you might as well say that it can make it to this one before the trough that's coming in. Then I got the weekly trough over here too. Right. What happened to that? I bet you it's only on the actual week. Yep, there you go. Yeah, this is another thing too, right? So that's where I was looking at, right? Comparing the short volume, I did draw a line for, considerably a lot, right? It's not like an overbought, oversold area. It's more like it's if all three of them get into that zone, Dow Jones, SP 500, and the Nasdaq above this zone right here, that's going to be like an area of interest, right? So that's what that red line is for. And then double bottom, right? This is, you could actually say this is a head and shoulders pattern, right? Using this indicator right here. See, um, shoulder, head, shoulder, or double bottom, or from here to here. This is so it went lower, a divergence. So that's a double bottom from here to here, right? This green line, it's a double bottom, but it's a head and shoulders pattern, and it's also a divergence here to here, lower prices but higher on the indicator, like here and here. So there's three different things going on simultaneously right here. And then you would say the break of the pattern, if you were the head and shoulders pattern, right? It would probably be over the shoulder, the top here, to the top there. So you would draw the line right there. Something like that. All right. I'm expecting the trend to reset sooner or later. Um, if we do see a down move, this is where I would think it would stop. And that would put us at this Fibonacci right here at 5,000. Go down to 5,000 before the next move up. Cash flow is still positive. It is rolling over on the weekly. Does have a divergence that caused it to go down. Still negative. Oops. Even though the day is or the weekly is positive. So that's interesting. There wasn't enough power in that move in order to turn it green. But the next trough is going to be pretty much anywhere from, say October the 28th to December the 23rd is the end of this weekly trough. So pretty much December. December we should see the weekly trough for the S&P come to a conclusion into next year, going into next year. Depending if we're higher highs, if we broke this pattern, and that'll be the direction we're headed into, right? I was expecting a rollover right here, And nope, trapped a lot of shorts in this move. So this is NA'd. Wait for the next chance whenever the price goes down. This one starts moving up some more. Once this daily gets into the overbought zone, then the risk for the price to fall increases. Just like how it is over here. The weekly, the risk is high. The daily, it's low. See how it happened right here when they rolled over? This one here, typically when this gets into the overbought zone, price reacts in a negative fashion. It happened here, here. It's consistent. It happens constantly. Sometimes it don't even. If price beats it to the punch, but you can see how the indicator did roll up here while it moved down. Then there was some consolidation here, and then went to its next leg down. But they can do that after price decides to roll over. But the risk is greatly increased once this oscillator makes it into the oversold zone. I mean, the overbought zone. They could do it in the center, right? As seen, but this is the daily chart. It's not really that. See how they did it right here? Price had the lead. But it's more significant though on the weekly. See how right here? I would say they kind of did it in the center on the pandemic one, but I believe the oscillator moves first. It looked like it moved first. Here they did it in the center. Didn't have to reach that zone. Here it did. See, that was a failed attempt right there. It was a fake out. It didn't have to here, but they did kind of converge into the center. They did it here. So it's basically more often than not that the oscillator reaches the top prior to the price going down. See how this zone right here was, the oscillator was on top, then the price reacted. So for my research, that's what the risk increases greatly that we could have a price rollover if the oscillator is in the overbought scenario. And if you got them both happening on the daily and on the weekly, then the chances increase even greater. And currently, they're not doing that. It's just the weekly. But let's go to the futures. of NASDAQ right here. Now, this is what I want to point out, because I could go through the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell, the Wilshire 5000, um, and so on. I could go through all of those ETFs. I could go through the futures as well, but this one right here is unique after, compared to the rest of them. It has the indicator has already been set off on the NASDAQ futures. See right here, well, let me fix this real quick. Close enough. All right. So right here, you already see the oscillator in the overbought territory, and the price is already exited out of the overbought, and now it's struggling to try to get back up, back into that zone, but it's already crossed. Right now, in the past, they have kind of like gone. There was some examples where they toyed around a little bit right here before they really started making their moves. But typically, when this happens, it's the trigger. It's already starting to do this right here. It's already in this phase. So the next phase is this, typically, right? So let's go through here. Let's find an area where they were flirting around without for some time, right, on the futures, rather than like right here. I guess you could say that it's kind of like something similar going on right here. That could be like a scenario that we got going on right here, right? How they crossed and now it's struggling to go back up, and then this one could turn, and then eventually they could turn again, right? But they have to come to a conclusion. The conclusion is they have to reach this zone sooner or later. It's going to happen. It's already been triggered, right? So this one was a fake out, right? Say maybe it's something like this too. Maybe it's going to be a whole bunch of trash, traders market like that. It's possible, right? This one didn't come to a conclusion, but they did react. They did have the reaction. I would say the best way to know for sure is to see the whale dump indicator set off and then fail, and then this happen. It's a possibility, but it's rare. And normally, what happens is this right here when they do that, right? Typically, you get something like this going on, right? Lower lows and lower highs. Let's see here. This one was kind of weird. They crossed in the center, they crossed back. And price continued to rise until a lot of chop right there. stuck in a zone. But we're not seeing nothing like this. The chart on that we were just looking at had nothing to do with this. Didn't even cross the center. Like I said, the risk for it to happen increases if it's in the overbought zone, and that's exactly what happened here. It went into the overbought zone, and then you see the drop. It failed it here. Didn't attempt it really there. So this oscillator right here. So let's go back, look at it one more time. I think I'm good on the video.
Kroger brand products have a great taste you'll celebrate. That's why over 40 million people choose Kroger brand products.
And, you know, they're rolling over. It's in a downward slope, right? Say it's all the same conditions that the SPX had, except it's already had the crossover here, and this is already in the overbought scenario, right? We're here to take a well. It's better to be back here, right? So let's take a look. I would say if it breaks this trend line right here, that's what I drew some trend lines on it. It might be failing. So that would mean we need to see the prices go down this week in order for it to continue to hold the expectations of the market dropping and going down. And I have that divergence going on, or I have the indicator setting off right here. But you know, they're about to break it. So if they break it, then this trend is incorrect, right? And it means more if you have it happening on the daily and on the weekly simultaneously. Right? All right, you guys have a nice day.